It is the Wednesday before the NFL draft, and I am finally getting out my first and final mock draft. Let's take a look at it and highlight the good picks that I think are going to surprise some people. First up, Will Campbell going to the Giants. That is going to be the first surprise pick of the draft, in my opinion. The Giants have got Brian Burns and Kayvon Thibodeaux. I do not think that they stack onto the edge rusher position and go with Abdul Carter, even though he's the best player in this draft, in my opinion. Injury concerns could possibly be something. He has a something stress in his foot. I'm not exactly sure how that injury is going to go on playing into this upcoming season, but overall, the positional need for a tackle is there. Will Campbell is the best tackle in this draft, in my opinion. Although he is a left tackle and they have Andrew Thomas, I do think he can turn and play right tackle. That's not out of the question, in my opinion. So the Giants go with Will Campbell. That's my first surprise pick. Next up, I want to talk about the Patriots. Without Will Campbell, which everybody has him mock draft there, I think they go with best available and get Abdul Carter. And if you ask the majority of Patriots fans if they could get Abdul Carter at pick number 4, they're practically throwing a parade in Boston. That's my opinion. I think that the Patriots absolutely go with Carter there. He's best available, and this draft is not stacked with talent to the point that you would think it's even an argument for another player. So Carter to the Patriots. Next up, I want to talk about the Jets. They're going to roll the dice again on a tackle like they did with Mekhi Becton a few years ago. They go with Armand Membu, who is probably one of the most experimental draft picks in this first round class. I think he's got an extremely high ceiling, but as of right now, the floor is pretty low. They need an offensive tackle, especially on the right side of the football, and he fits that perfectly. So I think that the Jets end up going tackle there instead of a tight end like Tyler Warren, who drops down to number 14, but I'll get to him in just a minute. Next up, I want to talk about the Falcons. They're going to go with Mike Green, who has been a massive riser in the offseason. So far, I have developed the opinion that Mike Green is still underrated. I think he's probably the 4th best edge rusher in this class, and maybe that's still underrating him. The Falcons get a steal right here. Now, talking about the Colts, of course, they are going to go try to help Anthony Richardson. This is make or break season for him and the offense. They've got to get it right, and I think that they go all in by getting a very versatile weapon in Tyler Warren. If he falls to them at 14, best believe they'll be picking him up. Now, the next one I want to talk about, the first wide receiver to go in this draft is Matthew Golden. I do think the Cardinals are trying to shore up Kyler Murray's offensive weaponry, and you could talk about Ted McMillan here, but he kind of serves the role that Marvin Harrison Jr. already has here in Arizona. And so I think they go for a speedster, a deep route specialist in Matthew Golden. That would be my choice. He absolutely tore it up at the combine, lightning speed, and it translates to the field. So that's why I have him going here to the Cardinals. Next pick I want to talk about, this is almost a for sure pick in my opinion. Maybe not Tyler Booker, but an interior offensive lineman for the Seattle Seahawks team. It seems to me that a lot of people have been talking about them getting an offensive tackle, but I like Charles Cross and what they have at the depth, or with the depth at that position right now. The interior part of this offensive line needs major work, and Tyler Booker is my second highest graded guard. A lot of people have him as the highest graded guard, so I completely understand the Seahawks going with an interior offensive line, despite having Zach Charbonnet and Kenneth Walker last year. They ranked, I think, 27th in the league in rushing yards per game, which to me, when you have Mike Macdonald as your head coach, a defensive-oriented type with a run-first mindset, and you rank 27th in the league in passing, that's pretty unacceptable. So, with that being said, they go interior offensive line. Next up, I want to talk about the Broncos get Ted McMillan. What a steal there. Now, of course, Ted McMillan serves a very similar purpose that Courtland Sutton serves, but in terms of contract extensions, I haven't heard a lot of leeway going towards Courtland Sutton's way. It seems that this is going to be his last year in Denver, and if they can reload and get Ted McMillan as his replacement at pick number 20, I think that is a phenomenal pickup for them. Next up, I want to talk about The Chargers getting Colston Loveland. I really do think, regardless of who is here, Jim Harbaugh is going to go get a Michigan guy. It could come down to Colston Loveland, Will Johnson maybe, or Kenneth Grant. One of those three guys will most likely be available. And the Chargers need that positional help at all three positions. So I definitely think Harbaugh is going to grab him a Michigan guy. In terms of getting Justin Herbert some help, tight end would be great. So Colston Loveland, that's in that spot. Reversing back into this draft, let's talk about the Steelers. Everybody is saying that they will be one of the teams to absolutely take a quarterback in the first round. I just don't see it. I have preached on this in multiple videos now. I don't think there's going to be another quarterback taken in this draft, in the first round of this draft, besides Cam Ward. I think the Steelers go defense. They lean into what makes Mike Tomlin churn. That is defense. And so Derek Harmon from Oregon, that's going to be the guy for me there. Moving on, let's continue down this draft into the Baltimore Ravens. Once again, this Ravens team dominated the running game last year. However, it seemed that the interior part of that offensive line needed depth. I think I pointed on this at the beginning of last season. They had 3 interior offensive linemen starting that had started a combined like 3 or 4 games. So I think they go with a versatile guy here in Gray Zabel, who has played interior offensive line, played offensive tackle. He can move all across the line. Somebody that could fill any position of need there for the Ravens, and they're going to continue to commit to running the football as they always do. I don't see them drafting a weapon here. I see them going heavy on the offensive line. Moving on, last 2 picks that I want to talk about. We're going to talk about the Bills getting Josh Allen, a true slot wide receiver, in Emeka Egbuka from Ohio State. I think this guy is exactly like Jackson Smith in Jigba. He can do it all, but in terms of playing in the slot, Josh Allen really hasn't had a high caliber guy to do that. Diggs, you could argue, could play inside a little bit, but I would not call him a slot specialist by any means necessary. I would say that about Emeka Egbuka. I think this guy is going to be special, but it's going to take some chemistry building with Josh Allen and the Bills. He's got that cold weather experience in Ohio State, so that's definitely a highlight pick there. And then last but not least, the Philadelphia Eagles get themselves yet another Georgia Bulldog. I think Malachi Starks slips all the way down to 32. Looking at the rest of these teams, there are several teams here that need safety help. One of the teams I want to talk about is the Vikings. I think that they go with the safety out of South Carolina rather than Malachi Starks. Starks is a smaller type safety where he would fit better in Philadelphia. I could see both of these players going either way, but for the fun of it, I'll have the Eagles getting yet another Georgia Bulldog. There are several top tier players that did not make this cut and will fall into the second round. All of the quarterbacks, of course, being most of them. I'm talking about Shedeur Sanders, Jalen Milroe, Jackson Dart. Those guys will be day 2 picks for sure, second or third round picks. Maybe 1 or 2 of them slips into the 4th round. But with that being said, this is the first round mock that I've got going into the draft. Let me know what you think in the comments, and thank you so much for watching. We'll see you next time.